let's get today's guest on the show and see what we can learn from his story. So if you're a startup founder, you might want to sit down, because I got a feeling that there are going to be some big value bombs dropped in your direction. Because today's guest is LD Mangin, and he is the CEO of a company called Confiant. But he's also a startup veteran who's worked on 5 startups and founded 2. So I wanted to find out more about his backstory, but I also wanted to find out more about how his team's SaaS solution actually works in real time to stop cyber criminals from redirecting users to fraudulent ads and destroying the reputation of publishers. So you know what that means. It's time for me to ask you to buckle up and say hold on tight so I can beam your ears all the way to New York so we can speak with LD Mangin from Confiant. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
So thank you, Neil, very much for hosting me. So my name is LD Mangin. I am the CEO and co-founder of Confiant. We are an advertising security startup, and we just celebrated our 5th anniversary 2 months ago.
Fantastic. But before we explore what you're doing now, I think we need to explore your backstory a little bit, because you're somewhat of a startup veteran, and I believe that you've worked on 5 and founded 2. So can you tell me a little bit more about your backstory, and also maybe offer any advice to anyone listening that's at the beginning of their own startup journey?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I went to college in the U.S., to Boston College, and I actually dropped out and went to work on Wall Street. And so I spent a year plus working on the commodities trading desk of Prudential Securities, and it was fascinating to see the markets and to understand what was going on. But at the end of the day, it didn't really inflame me or impassion me. And so I went back to school and switched to computer science instead. And right after school, I went and joined a fintech startup out of London that really kind of launched my career into startups. This was 99-2000 years, and so the first dot-com bubble had just burst. But the euphoria of entrepreneurism is really just something that caught me from the very beginning. And so my view of kind of how I built my career comes from a thought that I had many years ago, which is that you can't plan to be the person that has an idea. And so either you're going to have an idea or you don't. But what you can plan for is to be the person that knows how to translate an idea into a product and then into a business. And so that's what I trained myself at. And so that's why I always have worked in startups. Many of them have gone badly, and it's a great learning experience. Because when things are failing, you learn how to try and make it work and try and pull it together in ways that you don't. And so that's been kind of the main backstory for me, was that kind of career as a startup employee first, and then eventually as a startup founder myself. And then it's been an amazing arc.
Now, someone that has, like I said, worked on 5 startups and founded 2. You've been on a hell of a journey, and you're an incredibly busy guy. So I always want to get to know my guests a little bit better, and I feel compelled to ask you how you unwind. But before we started recording today, I did a little Google research on you, and it revealed offshore sailing adventures and working on your yoga handstands. So is there anything else we should know about today?
The sailing one is big. Not many people in the world have had the opportunity to experience sailing across an ocean, and so I consider myself incredibly privileged to have done it now 3 times, and being able to close my eyes and project back out into the middle of the ocean at any time means that I can really digest situations that would otherwise be more stressful without having that kind of very grounded, rooted feeling to myself. Beyond the yoga, definitely a lot of running. My go-to at the end of a hard day, if things haven't gone my way, is I'm going to just grab my running shoes and go and run really, really fast to kind of get the energy out and allow my brain to kind of simmer down and settle into what needs to get done, and so I can take those actions.
Fantastic. So I've got to ask then, what is the story behind Confiant, and what made you actually want to do something about fraudulent programmatic ads that are actually disrupting the market right now? So
when I was living in San Francisco, I was part of my first ad tech startup, which actually had as one of its founders, also one of the founders of DoubleClick. So it's when I first started really learning about ad tech and ad technology in general. I did my own startup out in social promotions while I was out there, and so when I came back to New York and started looking for my next opportunity, It was actually my co-founder that turned me on to the security side and the security issues involved in advertising.